Hello, and welcome to Matt's Casual Cooking. Today, we're going to be making smash burgers and homemade french fries. A very quick and easy meal that you can make for any time of year, really. A summer treat, though, that you will enjoy. Alright, so we'll go over how to make them and all the ingredients, and let's get to it.
Alright, so we're going to go over the ingredients that you need today. So you're going to need ground meat, you're going to need bacon, and you're going to need onions and your favorite cheese that you want to put on there. And you're also going to need some seasoning. Now I'm going to go over how much I'm using today of each, but really this is going to be up to you on how many you want to make and how much you want to make. So as you can see, for the ground beef, I have about nine balls here, and they're about 3 to 3.5 ounces each, and that's about, I used 2 pounds of ground beef today. For the bacon, I'm using two whole packages because I want some extra bacon today, and I'm using some red onion. Now the seasoning, I have kosher salt and pepper in here, and I also have, this is hickory smoked sea salt and pepper. And I'm using provolone cheese today for the burger. That's what I really do like on my burgers. Now for the hardware, now for the hardware today, you're going to want a grill spatula with a nice long flat edge to it. They do have ones bigger than this, but you can also buy a grill press that's just a rectangle that you actually press down onto the burger, and that definitely works as well. But today we're going to be using grill spatula, and we're also going to be using a cast iron pan. Now I'm using a 12-inch cast iron pan today. If you have a bigger one, I mean, I would go with that also. You can also use this if you want to grill. You can actually put this on the grill outside, and it will definitely work just as well as anything else. You can also use a grill to make these, and those are really the best options that I can point out to you. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you a little trick with the bacon on the best way to cut it, and then we're going to get to cooking. Now just a quick tip on cutting the bacon, or really going and cutting any meat. This is partially frozen. Now I've been defrosting this for probably a good 20 minutes. In the middle, still kind of defrosted, so it's still kind of firm, and it's going to be a lot easier to cut. Now we're only going to cut one way. We're only going to cut down this way. So when we make the bacon bits, it's actually going to cook, and it's going to fall apart and into these little flaps, and those are going to be your bit parts. So we don't necessarily want to cut this way if you don't want to. You're just going to want to cut vertically, and that's really it. So, all right, we're going to get to cooking, and let's get to it. All right, so go ahead and turn your oven up to medium high, and we're just going to wait till it heats up, and then we're going to go ahead and add the ground meat. Alright, so as you can see, our pan is ready. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a bowl, set it down there, and we're going to let it cook for just a second. And then we're going to pull that back out a little bit more in the middle. And all we're going to do here, go ahead and smash it down as hard as you can. Kind of press, and to kind of make sure it doesn't stick, kind of press and slide in actually a little bit bigger area of the burger as well. Alright, so now that we've done that, what we're going to do is we're going to take a seasoning, whatever seasoning you choose, and just go ahead and sprinkle side of it, give it a good amount. Don't overdo it, just give it as much as you want. Alright, so if you do notice it's starting to smoke a little bit, go ahead and turn your stove down. So right now, it's been about 2-3 minutes, so we just want to go ahead and flip it over. Now what we want to do, we want to go ahead and season this other side. And we're going to let that cook in. Alright, so this is almost done. It's only been about 2 minutes. So what you just want to do is go ahead and set a layer of cheese on there. And you're not going to want to let it leave it on there very long. It's going to kind of melt pretty quickly. It's kind of so once it starts kind of melting there, go ahead and pick it up and either put it on your bun, or right now I'm going to set this aside and cook the other buns. So again, we're going to put one down and in the middle. Now again, if you have more room, I really don't have any right now, you can go ahead and do a couple more. So let it sit there for a minute, kind of get used to the heat. And smash and slide. Go ahead and put your good liberal seasoning of salt on it, or your seasoning. Put your cheese on. Give it a 10, 15, 20 seconds to kind of melt. And either put on your burger or set aside for the time being. Alright folks, so the bacon is done cooking. I'm going to cook the rest of these, and I'm going to come back as soon as we're done. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and go over the ingredients you need for the french fries today. We've already done the smash burgers, and now we're going to go ahead and make the french fries. Now the french fries will take longer than the smash burger just because we are frying them, and also depends on how big the cut of the french fry is before it is cooked. So you're going to want russet potatoes. Now those are the best frying potatoes for this kind of thing, and like potato chips if you make potato chips in the future. You're also, I'm going to be using 4 of them. Now I've already cut up 2, and I'm going to show you how to actually cut the other 2 different ways. You're also going to need a Dutch oven. Now you can use cast iron if you want, but if you use cast iron, obviously only fill it up about halfway, maybe a hair more. But for the Dutch oven, we're using 3 quarts of peanut oil. Now you can also use like canola oil, vegetable oil, avocado. You can use sunflower oil, and these all have high smoke points. Now I would stay away from your olive oils, especially virgin. Now they have much lower smoke points, and that just means that the lower it is, the more possible it's going to catch on fire. So we don't want to do that. Now remember, for the frying, for the safety, you're going to want to have out some either baking soda, a lid, or a fire extinguisher. And I always have my fire extinguisher handy. So we're going to go ahead and cut the fries, and I'm going to talk about those a little bit. Alright, so as you can see, I have the mandolin here on top of a cutting board. And I have the actual potato cutting fry portion here, because if it wasn't here, if this was just flat, it would just cut it into a thin layer strip. So what we want to do is take a potato, and I'm going to, you don't have to do it this way, I just like to. It's a little bit easier to cut in there. Set this aside. Go ahead and put it on top here. Take your hand protector, stick the needle in the top, hold the back, and go straight down this way. Now this mandolin here is at 1/4 inch. That's how thick we're cutting the fries. If we go up more, they would be a lot thinner, but that's not what we're wanting today. So kind of pull it up, go down, and as it gets, kind of push this back up so you have a little more room, get more fries. When that happens, just kind of pull it back. Now if it gets too low like this, I'm just going to throw that in the compactor, or in the composter, and there's really no need to get your hands cut it, keep going. So. That happens, I just kind of move it around until it gets up. I don't want to stick my hand in there. I have cut some skin off accidentally doing this before, not paying attention, so you really want to pay attention when you're handling this mandolin. This will easily slice some items off. Alright, so we're going to set this in the sink. So as you can see, the fries are stuck a little together. We're just going to go ahead and put them in the bowl. So, and as you can see, they're very nice and uniform though. So there is a very much advantage to doing it this way. And it's a lot quicker, obviously, than hand cutting. But we're going to go over hand cutting before we do this. So. Alright. So we have one potato, and we're going to hand cut. Now, when you want to hold it, you're going to want to cut about 1/4, maybe 1/2 inch slices off of this. Kind of eyeball it. It's a little bit thicker than what it is on the mandolin. It's not a big deal. Alright, so they're cut, so now all you just got to do is hold it down. Same thing, about 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch. Now, as you can see though, these fries, they're going to be a little bit different variety. They're going to be a little bit thicker, so they're going to take a little bit longer to cook. So that is kind of one disadvantage, but just kind of now, as you can see, I didn't skin them. You can skin these before they go in if you don't like the skin on the potatoes. There's still nothing wrong with that, but if you'd like to do it this way with the skin, it's still going to taste just as good. Go ahead and just kind of cut. And once you get good at this, obviously you can go a little bit faster. Pull them apart. Now it's kind of stuck together. Alright, now Now, really quickly, I want to talk about the French fries. Now, we are about to cook them. I've been heating the oil before I started cooking these, and it's almost to the temperature we're at. Now, if you're going to be cutting them in advance and then heating the oil, which does take some time, you might start seeing some discoloration on them. That's just kind of the water pulling out. If you want to actually prep these overnight, what you want to do is put them in a big enough bowl where they're covered with water. Now, that will help pull some of the excess starch out of them, and they'll be crispier once you cook them. But remember, if you do that, you need to pat dry them all the way, as dry as you can, before you put them in. Because if not, that excess water is going to interact with the oil, and we all know what oil and water does. So while we're waiting, and we're going to, on the oil, we're going to want to hit a temperature of about 325, 330 in there. And we're going to want to put these in. Now, we're not just going to want to dump these in, obviously. It's going to be very hot oil. Just like with the fried chicken, you want to be very careful. And I'll kind of show you a little trick. And we aren't going to want to crowd it, because if we do, these are actually pull the heat out of the oil. So we'll put it in, we'll watch the temperature. If it starts dipping, we'll actually want to turn the heat up a little bit before we keep cooking. And as far as cook time, we're just kind of looking for the outside to be nice and golden brown. So while we're waiting, you'll also want to get out a bowl with some paper towels as the liner. Now we're not going to, now you could put these on a cooling rack if you want, but I like this way a little bit better. Now, after we put them in here, we're going to want to salt them right away to get a lot of the salt and the pepper to kind of stick, because there's still going to be some oil sticking on it. So, all right, we're going to get to frying here in just a second, and bear with me. Now, really quickly, while the oil is heating up, I did forget to mention, if you have new oil, you don't want to just turn this on high to get to where you're going. I'm actually at a medium right now, and you actually want your oil to kind of set out and get to room temp that you're in. So while you're cooking, you might hear some popping. That's kind of the oil just heating up to it. So don't worry about it. Until it starts smoking, we're not going to be too concerned. Now, I have a thermometer here. You can see we're almost at 280 degrees on it. Now, now you don't want to put the thermometer right at the bottom. You just want to kind of put it in enough. Now, it is close to the bottom because there really isn't. It's about halfway up on the Dutch oven. And it's just going to read the temperature as is. So, now temperature control, like with the fried chicken, is very important. Like I said, once you put the fries in, it's actually going to pull the temperature down, because you're pulling out the heat because it's actually cooking it. So if you need to actually turn it up a little bit before you want to get it back to around 325, 330, you're going to need to do that. And then once it gets back up there, you'll just want to turn it down a little bit. So it is a little time intensive item. So, and before you do that, while we're frying, once they're almost done, you're going to want, this is called a spider. It's just a little basket that just dips right in there. It's got a nice wood handle so your hands don't get fried, or just any other kind of, probably like a metal scoop that you have in there. I wouldn't recommend plastic for doing this kind of work. So, all right, we're almost done, and once we get to it, we'll go ahead and throw them in. All right, so I know it's a little hard. It's going to be hard to see on mine, but I am about probably 325 right now, so we're going to go ahead and put some of the fries in. Now, when you do this, this oil is very, very hot. Just go ahead and take a few fries at a time and slowly put them in and just kind of drop them in. Now, they might sink to the bottom, and you're going to see a lot of bubbles coming up. That is the oil just getting the water out of the fries, and they're going to start floating here in a little bit. So I already see them starting to float. Now with like potato chips, you can, if you'd like, go ahead and kind of sit them on the side here. And kind of just let them go in there. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, like I said before, do not overcrowd the bowl. This is going to start, once you start putting these in, they're going to start taking up the heat from the bowl or from the oil. And you're going to see a temperature drop. If you have a thermometer on the mercury, you're going to actually see it drop. Now, once they start to cook, you're going to see bubbles like before, and it's going to start going back up. And that's why I'm saying you might have to turn it up a little bit if you put too many in here, like I just did. So we're going to go ahead and turn it up just a hair to kind of get the heat going again to get them cooking. Now take your spider and you're going to want to kind of just move them around. Well, you don't want to necessarily do it a lot. You're just going to want to do it a little bit. Just make sure they're not sticking to the bottom. All right, and now while we're waiting for the other batch to get done, you do want to eat some of these, and I have been known to eat some of these that I fry. Let them just probably dry out about 5-ish minutes to kind of really cool down so they don't burn your tongue. And just anything else, just go ahead and take it. And one's nice and soft, cooked on the inside, are nice and brown, and overall really, really good. So I'm gonna come back after all the batches are done. Now this can take some time depending on how many fries you have, because they can take 5-6 minutes a batch. But it is definitely worth it in the long haul because they're going to taste really good. So, all right, I'll see you after the last batch and see you then. All right, so as you can see, our fries are done. Now, I've done a coating of kosher salt and pepper on them because I really like the pairing of the two. You can do other items for this. I suggest like a cayenne pepper or basil, dill weed, parsley. Just kind of experiment with what you want. Some of those go really good with potatoes. And an easy way too is once you put them in here, and especially once you start getting a lot of them, and you put it on, you need to kind of move it around. Just kind of grab it by the edge here, kind of just shake it from the top shortly. You can see it's kind of rotating down. It's kind of a nice thing to do. Get really really spread out your spices.
All right, so as you can see, we are done cooking. We've got a nice melt on the cheese. We've got bacon, onion, and we got an aioli sauce spread on the bun. It will help really up the flavor. Now you can put barbecue sauce on this. Obviously, it's your burger. Add anything you want. But other than that, I really hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it. So please like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. And thank you for watching today, and take care.